There is a guitar on Reverb right now. Serial number J2713. Black Jackson King V. Custom built. 1986. The Megadeth logo is on the body. This guitar, if it's what the seller says it is, recorded 3 of the most important thrash metal albums ever made. So Far So Good So What, Rust in Peace, and Countdown to Extinction. That's not just 3 albums. That's the entire arc of a band going from dangerous cult favorite to one of the most technically accomplished metal acts on earth. And right now, it's sitting at a Reverb listing, priced at $193,864.40. At least there's free worldwide shipping. 1986, after finishing Killing Is My Business, and while Peace Sells was in release, Mustaine approached Jackson about building him a custom guitar. At that time, Jackson was still a small to mid-sized custom shop-driven company, closely tied to the LA metal scene. Jackson took their existing V, which at the time had a symmetrical double Rhodes shape, and modified it specifically for Mustaine. They added 2 more frets to bring it to a total of 24. The custom was completed October 10th, 1986. But Mustaine didn't formally switch to Jackson until 1987, after Peace Sells, after the tour. So the guitar you're looking at on Reverb right now, its career starts with So Far So Good So What in 1988. 3 albums, 4 years, my favorite stretch of Megadeth's entire history. What this guitar witnessed. Let me walk you through what this guitar's career actually looked like. 1988, So Far So Good So What. Megadeth's in a rough patch. Chris Poland's out. Jeff Young is in on second guitar. The band is messy, combustible, chemically compromised. Mustaine's in a bad shape personally. And yet, the record has moments of pure ferocity. The Anarchy in the UK cover, In My Darkest Hour, written the night Cliff Burton died. 1990, Rust in Peace. Marty Friedman joins. Nick Menz on drums. The lineup finally clicks. Tornado Souls, Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Five Magics. Music that still makes guitars stop what they're doing and pay attention. Mustaine has gotten sober enough to actually hear what he's playing. The writing is precise, the execution is immaculate, and the guitar driving the rhythm tracks on every one of those songs is the Black King V with the Megadeth logo. 1992, Countdown to Extinction. Megadeth goes commercial, and it works. Sweating Bullets, Symphony of Destruction, A Tout le Monde. The album goes platinum, twice. MTV plays them. They're nominated for a Grammy. And the instrument at the center of all this is that sweet Black Jackson Custom King V. What's actually for sale? So let's talk about the actual listing. It's on Reverb. Seller Bunker 409 from Burgerveen, Netherlands. Title, Jackson King V, 1986, Megadeth 1, not a replica. Dave Mustaine, original, 1986, King V, serial, J2713. The seller uses the phrase, not a replica, in the title. That phrase is doing a lot of work. It tells you the seller knows replicas exist and knows you know it's either genuine confidence in the provenance or very calculated framing. We're going to figure out which. Authenticity. How do you actually verify this? Here's what's working in the listing's favor. The serial, J2713, is consistent with early Jackson custom shop production from this era. The specs, the Kaler, the 24-fret neck, the JB bridge pickup, the Bill Lawrence 500L, all match documented historical specs for Mustaine's known King V. The Megadeth logo placement on the body matches photographs that exist from the period. Community response on the Megadeth subreddit and the Megaface Facebook group has been cautiously positive, not hyped, not dismissive, cautious and positive. That's actually the best result you can hope for from a knowledgeable community. Here's what you need to verify before spending tens of thousands of dollars. 1. Jackson's serial database. Jackson's website has a serial lookup tool. J2713 should trace to a specific production year and location. 2. Expert appraisal from a Jackson specialist, not an enthusiast. Jackson lost some records in a fire in later years, which makes documentation from the early custom era hard to trace definitively. That's not a red flag. It's just a context you need to know going in. Wear patterns as a cross-reference. Find every photograph and video of Mustaine with this guitar from 87 to 93. Match the dings, the scratches, the hardware oxidation. Bodies tell the truth even when paperwork can't. 5. The headstock repair. The clue the seller has missed, relevant to authentication. There's a story Mustaine has told publicly about this guitar, and it's directly relevant to authentication. During a show, Mustaine and drummer Gar Samuelson got into a physical argument on stage. In the heat of it, the headstock of his King V was broken clean off. The guitar, his number one, had to be repaired. It was, and it kept playing. Here's where it gets interesting from an authentication point. Researchers at guitarscollectors.com spent years tracking serial J2713 across concert photographs and large format Mustaine posters from every year. What they found is forensically significant. Between the So Far So Good era and the Rust in Peace tour, the guitar's headstock became measurably shorter. The Jackson logo was also replaced. Both are classic indicators of a headstock repair. When a neck breaks and is reglued or partially replaced, luthiers typically have to reshape and trim the headstock, leaving it visibly shorter than the original. The logo replacement is consistent with that work, since refinishing and redecaling is standard practice after such a repair. The timing places the damage somewhere between 1987 and 1990. Gar Samuelson was fired in 87 after their last show in Hawaii. The guitar was completed in October 86. The window for the break is tight, and the photographic evidence of the shorter headstock is directly consistent with the story Mustaine has told publicly. That repair matters. A professionally repaired headstock fracture is invisible to the naked eye on a well-done job, but it does not disappear under ultraviolet light. Modern finish work and the original lacquer fluoresce differently. The repair line, the filler, the boundary between the old finish and the new, all of it becomes invisible under black light. The current Reverb listing contains no mention of a headstock repair. None. Not in the description, not in the photos, not in the condition notes. That's significant omission in either direction. If the guitar is real, the headstock repair should be there. The absence of it is a problem. So the repair alone doesn't prove authenticity, but its complete absence from the listing on a guitar with a documented and publicly discussed history of headstock damage is the kind of omission a serious buyer can't ignore. What a seller should provide is a blacklight photograph of the headstock. If that repair is present, it will show up, and it would be additive evidence consistent with the documented history of the instrument. Beyond the photograph, the due diligence questions write themselves. Who did the repair? When? What method? Was it a scarf joint, an epoxy fill, a full neck replacement? And critically, is this guitar structurally sound? A well-executed headstock repair done correctly can hold indefinitely. A bad one can fail under string tension. At $190,000, the buyer deserves to know exactly what they're holding. The Gar Samuelson story is not folklore. Mustaine has recounted it himself, and now there is photographic corroboration in the form of measurably shorter headstock visible from the Rust in Peace tour onward. That means this specific guitar has a specific documented physical event in its history with observable physical consequences that can be cross-referenced against the listing guitar right now. The seller either doesn't know about it, which tells you something about their research, or they do know and chose not to mention it. Neither answer is reassuring at this price point. But for a buyer, that shorter headstock is actually a gift. It is a fingerprint. If the listening guitar's headstock matches the post-repair dimensions visible in concert photos from 1990 onward, that is additive evidence the seller hasn't even thought to offer. The value. What is this actually worth? Let's talk numbers. A standard 1986 Jackson King V, no celebrity provenance, good condition, original hardware, has been trading for $2,000 to $4,000 on the used market. That's the floor. That's what you would pay for the guitar without the story. The guitar used to record specific songs on specific albums that have been defining pieces of a genre for 30 plus years. Rust in Peace is not just a well-reviewed metal album. It is regularly cited as one of the greatest metal albums ever recorded. Full stop. If this guitar's provenance is verified, you're not looking at $4,000. The question is, will someone pay the premium of $190,000 for Dave's legendary King V? Depending on who wants it and how the collector market moves, it appears a number of offers have been made. For comparison, Eric Clapton's original Blackie Stratocaster sold for $959,500 at a Christie's auction in New York on June 24, 2004. Which at the time made it the most expensive guitar ever sold at auction. The most expensive Jimi Hendrix associated guitar ever sold is the 1968 Olympic White Fender Stratocaster, and he played at Woodstock, nicknamed Isabella. The guitar was privately sold to Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen in 1998 for $2 million USC. Talk about just a value. $2 million just seems like such a great value. The Megadeth collector market, while passionate and deep, is not the Clapton market, not the Hendrix market, not yet. But the principle is identical. Verified provenance transforms an instrument into a relic. And this one is listed right now at a price that doesn't reflect that. The only question you can answer. Here's where I land. I can't tell you this guitar is real. I haven't held it. What I can tell you is this. The guitar that recorded Rust in Peace exists somewhere. The guitar that tracked Holy Wars, and Tornado of Souls, and Hangar 18, and Symphony of Destruction is a physical object that is out there in the world right now, and it looks exactly like this one. Whether it is this one, that's the question. There's something we're sitting with in that. The objects that were present when great things were made carry something that no copy can reproduce. Not mystically, practically. They carry the weight of having been used, of having been the instrument through which something real came into the world. Whether you're buying this or not, I want to know what you think. Is this the real Megadeth Jackson King V #1? What would it take to convince you? What do you think it's worth? How do you get your girlfriend to buy this for you for your birthday? Because you've been very, very good. And how good of a player do you have to be in order to be worthy of this instrument? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone. Link to the actual Reverb listing in the description. Go look for yourself. Tell me what you see. Some things are worth more than the asking price. I'll see you in the next one.